Oh, is it? Okay. Hello, and how are we doing today? My name is Samuel DeLilly. I'm working on my bachelor's in digital marketing at Full Sail University. Today I'm interviewing Cedric Phillips, marketing strategy for StarCityGames.com, voice of the SCG Tour, and host of Ced Talks podcast. Oh, that's my little introduction. My professor said I should let you know I'm really nervous. I'm a really big fan of yours.
Okay.
I've recently gotten back into the Magic over the past year or so, and I've started following you and been a really big fan. So, like I said, really nervous. So I apologize.
Nothing to be nervous about, man. We're just talking Magic and other things. Don't worry about it.
So my first question for you is, how did you get started in marketing?
Good question. Pardon the throat clears. I've always just kind of found marketing interesting. I wouldn't say that like this was my goal or my passion. I didn't go to school for this. I went to school for hospitality and tourism management at Purdue University, so restaurants, hotels, tourism, stuff like that. But as I worked myself more and more into the professional aspect of Magic and working for Star City Games and Ultimate Guard, I just found that I continued to enjoy more and more learning about marketing, both digitally and actually just kind of in-person marketing, just the different things that it can do. Getting people excited about products, excited about things in general. Marketing and advertising is a pretty powerful thing. I worked for an advertising firm when I was 20, about 7 months, selling digital. Particularly, uh, plenty of reasons that I won't get into right now. I found that the marketing advertising world is just kind of interesting. As I've learned more and more about it from Seth Godin and many other people, I just kind of like it.
It's funny that you did hospitality. I actually was working restaurants and was a pastry chef for a few years, and I'm transitioning over to marketing.
Okay, fair enough. Been there.
What are some of the challenges you deal with every day?
The challenge I deal with every day is honestly just having a lot on the plate and trying to balance which ones are more important than the others. There's a lot to accomplish in the marketing field for Star City and everything that I do for them and that I do with my own personal brand. So, for digital marketing, excuse me, for the best way to handle things via social media. One of the things about that is Twitter is different than Instagram, which is different than Facebook, which is different from Snapchat, which is different from YouTube, which is different from email. A lot of people think that you can use the same creative to be able to accomplish the same thing on similar platforms, but they're all different platforms that require different creative, different ideas, different ways to reach out to your consumers and the people you're trying to reach on all of those mediums. That's just social media. That doesn't even talk about other ways that you can reach people. So the biggest difficulty is kind of planning, strategizing, pardon me, and then following through on all the things that you want to do across a bunch of different mediums.
Really cool. One of the things we're focusing on in this class is different social medias and LinkedIn, and they actually gave us a tool to monitor a bunch at once because they're all so different. So it's great that you talked about that.
I didn't even mention LinkedIn because that's one too that I work through and have to use, and the way you use that is different than the way you use every other one too. What's the tool you guys use to monitor?
Hootsuite.
Oh yeah, very familiar.
Yeah, I actually just learned about it through this class, and I'm a big fan of it. It's nice being able to have everything in one spot.
Yeah. It's a tool. I think of those kind of tools that gives you access to all the social medias out there. I think Hootsuite might be the best. I don't love it for scheduling announcements you want to make, scheduling tweets, scheduling Facebook posts, stuff like that. I use Buffer for that, if you're familiar.
I'm not, but I'll Google it after this.
Yeah, I would check it out. It's actually really good for scheduling, and they're trying to build their program out more. It's what I use for scheduling my Facebook and Twitter posts and Instagram posts because they've just not integrated that really far ahead of time. But Hootsuite, Buffer doesn't have that Hootsuite does of being able to basically look at all the channels in a row and be able to monitor everything. That's a real benefit that Hootsuite has at
Buffer. What was one of your favorite projects to work on?
Kind of difficult to answer, but I think my easiest answer, even though it's kind of broad, is just everything that I've done with the SCG Tour. It's been a lot of fun from start to finish of kind of taking that from where it was back in 2012 and really just kind of diving into it and putting a real focus on it. When I first started on the SCG tour doing commentary and coverage, it was back in 2012 in June, and it was really lacking a focus and a direction. And it really needed someone to be able to take that over and give it those things. And I can't claim to know what I was doing. I had ideas. That's what kind of makes marketing fun is, some aspects you have a playbook and some aspects you don't. You might just want to try something. You might think of an idea and say, hey, I think this can work, and run with it. And I thought that, putting the same commentators out there, letting them grow together, focusing the formats that the tournament had, giving an end-of-year championship with the Players' Championship that we had in 2015, 15, 16, giving a reason for people to continue to play, stuff like that, and then marketing appropriately on social media and on the Star City website. That was fun and still continues to be fun, which is why I still do it.
Awesome. What do you think the next big tool in marketing is? We just talked about different social media stuff. Is there anything that you use that's not real well known that you think will be the next big thing to help out with the social medias and marketing?
I think a lot of that stuff is covered right now. I'm not going to say it's covered perfectly because there isn't one perfect program to cover all the platforms. So I don't know if there's going to be like a new Hootsuite or a new Buffer that does it better than they do. What I will say is that I think that audio is going to be big. So, your Alexas of the world, those type of programs, I think that's where we're going to be going. Obviously social media is going to continue to be relevant. That's not going to change at all, honestly. But these automated programs, these automated things that are taking place right now with Alexa and other programs like that, I think we're going to see a shift in marketing to where you're going to be able to say, hey, Alexa, order me a pepperoni pizza from whatever place it is, and be able to do that. Or, hey, Alexa, schedule the following tweet. Or, Alexa, how many hits does my YouTube video have today? Stuff like that. It's going to be so important for marketing. It's funny. I kind of sound like, I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't,
yes.
if you don't, I recommend that you do. I feel like I'm a shill for him right now, but I listen to his podcast every day, the Gary V Audio Experience, and this is something he strongly believes in, and I believe in it too. From hearing it from him, it's just these automated programs, these automated systems are all going to be where we're going to be going in the future. So, do I think there's going to be a new social media program? Not really. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Snapchat continues to be somewhat successful for the younger generations. Facebook for kind of the older generations now. Instagram, Twitter for our generation. LinkedIn for working people. And obviously YouTube is YouTube. So all these things are popular and successful. And not to say there's not going to be a new program that comes around, but I think there's just going to be a new methodology for doing it, which is you don't have to sit in front of your computer as much anymore. You'll be able to audibly tell a robot to do something, and it will be able to be done.
That's cool. It's awesome. I lost where I was. I apologize.
Oh, you're good. I got plenty of time.
So, you kind of already answered this question. I was going to ask if there's an app or website or some other piece of technology that helps with when you're working on projects, but you already had mentioned, what was it, Buffer?
Yeah, Buffer is one that I use. That's a key one for my personal brand mostly. That's how I schedule a lot of the stuff that I post on social media. So I like that tool a lot. And I don't know, I'm curious how Buffer is going to grow over the years. But, stuff like marketing calendars and things like that, it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. I'm not too fancy with the programs you use. I'm 32, so I feel like I'm kind of old. I'm kind of old school in that I like to write things down as opposed to make a program. And it's easier for me to remember things that way. So I think that, Post-its and handwriting things, make sure you actually get them done and cross them off the list is pretty cool. But Buffer is really good at scheduling things. Hootsuite's really good for being able to take a look at things that way. I read a lot about just social media. I follow Social Media Today on Twitter and read their newsletter. I try to read their newsletter every day. I just try to stay up to speed with what's happening in the industry as best I can, but there's a lot of resources for that. And a lot is always changing, so you just have to try to keep up.
Yeah, it's funny. You say you're 32. I'm 29. I'll be 30 in February, and I do everything on my phone. I do all my school stuff on my phone. If I can, I pull out my laptop to write my papers. So it's really funny. We're close in age, but where there's that difference there.
Yeah.
But my wife's the same way. She has to have a piece of paper and a pen to write something down. That's her. So it's funny.
Yeah, it's different for everybody, but those are it's weird because like pen and paper aren't really a tool per se. I'm not sure that's the answer you're exactly looking for, but if you're looking for scheduling programs and stuff like that, there are so many options out there. You just kind of have to test them and find out which is the best one for you. For me, I've enjoyed Buffer quite a bit. We use it with Star City. I use it personally. Some people, Star City, use Hootsuite. I don't. I've used that before in the past, though. Buffer is my preference, and I actually like to go to each website when I can, just kind of browse around and scroll and try to take in the user experience as best I can.
Awesome. As they say, there's an app for that, I guess, if whatever you want to do.
Yes, there is. It's questionable how good the app is, but there's definitely an app.
Awesome. Are there any marketing campaigns that have stood out to you, and what made them stand out?
Ah, boy. I feel like I should have an answer to this question. Really should have an answer to this. It's funny, like, movie trailers aren't really considered marketing campaigns, in my opinion.
I hear what you're saying, but in a way, they're kind of the biggest marketing campaign because they tell you, really everyone that sees a trailer decides, that's how you know if you're going to see a movie for the most part.
Yeah. It's like so I 100% agree with you. I think in the context of this question, I don't think many people would consider a movie trailer to be a campaign in a traditional sense, right? You might be thinking about
definitely not traditional, yeah.
Yeah, you might be thinking like some sort of think of like a cool Coca-Cola commercial campaign that they did through the holidays or something like that, or something that Nintendo did or PlayStation did to build up a sale for a video game to get people interested, stuff like that. But for me, I'm a big movie trailer watcher, and I find it to be actually surprisingly effective. Like you said, a lot of people watch movie trailers. You can see the YouTube numbers. They're on Instagram. They're all over social media. Yesterday it was the Captain Marvel trailer that came out during the Monday Night Football game, right? So that's a campaign. It was like it was strategized. It was planned. They knew when it was going to come out during the game. Obviously, there's a lot of viewers in Monday Night Football, so putting it there is going to put it in front of a bunch of eyeballs. Then people are posting it on Twitter. Then people are liking, retweeting, commenting on Twitter and Facebook and shareable. You can find the YouTube video and all this other stuff. So to me, movie trailers are so effective. They're such a powerful campaign. I think of most recent Avengers. What's the most recent Avengers?
Infinity Wars.
Infinity War. Thank you. Yeah, so the trailers for that were so measured and did such a nice job of not giving away what was going to happen. Right? We knew who the big bad guy is. We don't know a lot about him. We don't know a ton about his purpose, assuming you haven't read the comics and stuff like that. So it was so measured in what it was, but it did such a great job of hooking people who might not be familiar with comics. Of like, okay, like I'm obviously somewhat familiar with this series. A lot going on, a lot of buzz about this. I'll take a look. Where they placed the ads was very strategic. When they did it was very strategic. I thought it was very, very well done.
Great. What advice can you give to help build someone's personal brand?
Okay, this one I can definitely answer. Building your own personal brand, it is work, it is repetition, it is trying and failing, it is a lot of different things. There's a lot of people in the Magic community, as you probably know, have social media presences, right? Patrick Chapin, Louis Scott Vargas, Jerry Thompson, Reed Duke, all these people have social media followings with a lot of people that follow them. I have a big social media following on Twitter as well. Of all of those people, I am probably the loudest of them. I post a lot about myself personally, music I listen to, the food I like to eat, things I like to do, where I'm traveling, things like that. Whereas Reed is kind of the direct opposite. Doesn't really post very much. Has more followers than me, but we're very different people from a personality standpoint. Love Reed to death, but we are very different. And what works for me is not being quiet. That works for Reed, doesn't work for me. So you have to find out what works for you. I could run my account, right, where I just only post about Magic stuff. I post links to articles. I post screenshots when I'm playing Magic Online or Arena. I post deck advice. I post here's the deck you should play this weekend and the next modern tournament or standard tournament, stuff like that. But I actually don't post that much stuff that pertains to Magic. I post a lot of stuff that pertains to music, or I'm traveling, whether it be for open or personal travel or whatever. What I'm eating, if I have a question, I do my fake holiday of the day. Today's National Cookie Day, fake holiday. That I get from a newsletter. Yeah, so I do stuff like that because that's just honestly just who I am, and it's engaging and it's fun to me. I post my podcast when I've finished editing one and ready to publish one. So for you, you have to find out what your personal brand is and what you're comfortable. Some people aren't comfortable posting a lot because to them they feel like if I'm posting a bunch, I might be bothering people and they might unfollow me, right? If I'm posting something every 5 minutes, they're just gonna follow me. But you don't know if the person on the other side of that it just loves your content, loves what you post, and they just want to see everything you post every 5 minutes or every hour or whatever frequency you post. So you have to be comfortable doing that and knowing that like you is there a chance you alienate your audience? Yes. But is there a chance that your audience loves your content so much that you posting with a high amount of regularity or medium amount of regularity or a low amount of regularity? How much do people like it? How much don't people like it? Ultimately, what I've done is I've found a way to be comfortable posting in a fashion that I'm happy with. Example, I swear a lot. I like to swear. It's just who I am as a person. You record this. I say the word fuck a lot. I just do. It's who I am. I know that some people who follow me on social media might not like it. That's fine. There's an unfollow button. You can unfollow me, but I am comfortable in my own skin. I'm going to be who I want to be. I try not to be offensive or saying that's going to offend anybody. I try to be cognizant of that, but at the same time, it is my personal brand. It's not my company brand. And if you're following me, the person, I'm going to be me. So you wanna be measured in what you do. You want to find it's going to work for you. At the end of the day, you have to set aside some goals for what you're trying to accomplish, right? You can if I if my goal was just to be the biggest Magic Twitter personality, I would only post about Magic. That's it. But I don't have that. I don't have that goal. I want to be an entertaining follow for the things that people enjoy that I also enjoy. So if you like professional wrestling, probably follow me. If you like Mega Man, probably follow me. If you like Paramore music, I like probably follow me. If you don't like those things, you might still follow me because like you know me from commentary, you know me from Magic, you like some of the things. But I prefer posting this wide swath of things that people can be the human better because it's my personal brand as opposed to be the Magic player, which is only a piece of who I am.
Well, part of one of the reasons I'm a big fan of you is because your personal brand and how you spoken out against cheating, how people are treated in the Magic community. And I actually want to base some of I want to try and emulate that because it speaks so well to me. I have a stepson and two daughters. I want my kids to be able to play with me. I don't want them to go into a community where people are mean to each other.
Yep.
So I became a big fan of you because of how outspoken you are about these things. Like they're a big deal to me and they're a big deal to me. Like I want, as in your interview with Gary Thompson on your podcast, how he mentioned that anytime a woman's on Twitch, it turns into a dumpster fire. I
Yeah.
don't want my daughters to grow up in a world like that. Like I got back into Magic when my wife was pregnant with my youngest, and
Okay.
she's been watching me stream. She's been watching me, play online, and I want her to be a part of that. I would love to share this with my kids, but I want it to be, people need to be respectful of each other. And I love that you're so outspoken about that. And that's really one of the biggest reasons I'm a fan of yours.
No, I really appreciate that. That's really awesome. I brought up Reed earlier, and I don't. Reed's not really an outspoken person, so I don't really expect him to be. It would be weird, given how long I've known Reed, if he were a loud personality on social media the way he is in real life, because he's just not really a loud person. So the way that he runs his own Twitter, his own personal brand, I think is in line with who he is as a person. And I think the way that I run mine is in line with who I am as a person. And I like to show people different sides of who I am. You mentioned the cheating stuff, how much I'm against it. That's in line with who I am. But I'm also, kind of a goof, but I'm also passionate about NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers basketball and LeBron James. Like I'm passionate about those things too. And I like giving people a window into who I am personally on my personal Twitter, my personal brand. So that's how I like to run mine. Everyone's going to run their personal Facebook and so on and so forth differently. But in order to grow it, because that was your personal question, find what works for you and don't be afraid to do it with repetition. Don't be afraid to. People are so scared of. I have followers and I don't want to post so much that I bother them or annoy them. Don't worry about that. Imagine you are Coca-Cola and you're running a marketing campaign. I imagine the people of Coca-Cola who have infinite more reach than I do don't ever go, well, this could annoy some people. They don't care about it. about making the best thing, getting in front of the most eyeballs as possible to accomplish your goal, and repetition be damned to a certain extent. We have seen other sides of things where a company like FanDuel and DraftKings, when they a couple of years ago, when they ran so many commercials during NFL football games, where it was actually bad to have that amount of repetition. It was not a measured take. So there's a happy medium, like all things, but you can't really be concerned with what other people think. You just have to find what you become.
What have you done to make your personal brand known?
Repetition.
I mean, you have a podcast. You're on Twitter. I guess you should have been more so. Like, what is there anything that you actively push to make sure that it's known who you are, or is it like we're just saying repetition?
It has something to do with repetition. It has some. The big one to me that I think people realize, and this goes back to your comment earlier, is authenticity. I'm a pretty authentic person, and I think people actually like and respect that. I don't pull punches about how I feel about things, and if it offends some people, so be it. But it doesn't really bother me. If you listen to my podcast, I swear a lot. I tell people how I feel. If I think which is the kid sucks at doing something, I'll say as much. If I think I suck at doing something, I'll say as much. In 2018, I think authenticity is a really, really big deal. You can tell when people are being fake. You can tell when people are being paid to say or do something. We see nowadays these tweets from people who are sponsored by a company like Mana Traders. I won't name any names, but I'll be honest, they're like the worst tweets I've ever seen in my entire life. You can tell that they're obviously being paid to say this particular thing. It's unclear if they actually use this product. It feels like you're reading from a script, or someone composed this tweet for them. And please, I love playing Magic online, and where you can get your Magic Online deck? ManaTraders.com, where you can save 7% if you use my promo code. Insert that person's name here. That doesn't generate any sales, right? That doesn't feel authentic. I don't believe that person actually uses that service. If I messaged that person and I was like, hey, how do you use this service from beginning to end? They probably wouldn't be able to tell me, whereas, who I work for in Star City, and I'm in my office right now for Ultimate Guard, if you had a question about these katana sleeves, which I've been talking about on social media, they come out February 1st. I can tell you every aspect of these sleeves, right? I use them myself. I work with them every day. I'm working on a campaign for the release that's taking place on February 1st, which is the first Friday in February. Like, I use these. I'm going to use these at every tournament I play, probably moving forward, not because I work for them, because they're good. And I think that sort of thing is important, is the authenticity of, it's in my best interest to sell these products that are in this room with me, but at the same time, if I didn't believe in them, you would know. So I think authenticity on a social media platform is a big deal, and is a big way in how you build a social media platform. If you take a look at some of the people who are the biggest social media stars, and like you said, Gary Vaynerchuk. All I think of when I listen to that guy is authenticity. That guy's in your face. That guy calls people a fuckface and all these other things, and he's working and he's on his grind and no bullshit, no excuses. That guy is like the hardest worker in the room. If you follow The Rock on Instagram or The Rock on Twitter or anything, that guy is. You see what he's doing. He's authentic. He's got this huge, huge reach for people who are older, people who are younger, people that are our age. And yeah, he still swears, and he still does his thing, and he's still passionate about what he does. Casey Neihart on YouTube. Like these people, Will Smith now has got a huge Instagram following. Like these people, authenticity is so important in 2019 next year, 2018 now, because people can tell when you're not authentic and you're being fake, you're not being real, and you're holding back what you actually think, and that's not what it.
There's a fire truck going by. I'm sorry.
You start a fire over there?
Yeah, I was excited to meet you.
Yeah.
Honestly, as soon when you responded and you said you were going to do this, I immediately called my wife and kind of geeked out a little bit. I was really excited. So thank you very much. I am a really big fan.
I appreciate it. How old are the kids, by the way?
I have a 9-year-old stepson, a 3-year-old terror, and my youngest daughter turned 1 yesterday.
Very awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's very cool.
Going back to what we were just talking about, it's funny you mentioned Mana Traders, because I use that service, but the reason I use it is there's a streamer I watch who actively uses it, and I saw how he used it and how good it was, and that's why I chose to use it. So I understand what you're saying. Someone puts out a tweet and you don't, it's very generic. Like, why do I want to trust that I should use your code to go They go and like like the person I watch, he has a promo code and he'll mention them on his stream, but he actually uses it and you can see how useful it is. So there's a big difference there. I understand what you're saying with the does this person use it? Do they know what they're doing if they were to log on, or they're just getting paid?
And if your friends had a question now about mana traders, now that you're familiar with it, obviously word of mouth advertising is a big deal, but you might redirect them to that person's promo code and say, like, I got it from him. I know that they use this powerful service. I use it myself, but like this is where I learned about it. Like this person uses it. I trust this person and their judgment.
I've actually referred friends with his promo code because I liked it. So exactly as you're saying.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Whereas if you see a blanket advertisement, and I see them all the time now, especially with sponsorship and Magic, they're just so cookie cutter and total BS. And it's just like it's so clear that like you're being paid to say this. I have no clue if you actually use this particular product. If you care, it's just like, well, just cashing my paycheck, which good for you, but I don't know how much you're actually helping that particular company and that particular person.
Yeah, no, very, very true. Because I liked it. It's how I knew to use it. So I'm willing to tell my friends that you're not telling me anything except that you obviously have a promo code.
Yeah.
And like you said, like I can't fault anyone for trying to make a paycheck, but there's a difference between knowing it's used and seeing someone actually use it and know that they use it versus a little generic tweet.
Yeah, which doesn't do particularly much nowadays. Authenticity, my man. That's what it's all about.
I have one last question for you.
Hit me.
In your opinion, what are some of the best ways to monitor your personal brand?
To monitor it?
Yeah, to keep track of it. See how you're perceived on the internet.
I mean, there are programs, right? Like, there's a program. I think it's called Response, where you can put your name. Like, it's a program where like you can search your name across like all the social media platforms or like through Google or whatever, and see like what people are saying about you on Reddit, Twitter, and Facebook, and all those other things. The way I monitor such things, and assuming that I care about what people think about me, which I don't. But if you monitor your personal brand, I mean, just check out your Twitter mentions, check out your Twitter DMs, check out how people respond to what you post on Instagram or Facebook. Do a Reddit search for yourself, do a Google search for yourself, stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty generic. Monitoring what people think about you, personal brand. I think it's different. I think it's different with your personal brand and like what consumers think about that particular brand. Many different people. For myself, and I'm different from everyone, but myself, like, I don't really give a shit what people think about me. Personally, like, do I have ways to monitor? Yeah, like, I post on Twitter all the time, and then I'll take a look at the mentions a decent amount of the time and see like what people think or people liking something, things like that. Like, but I try not to get stuck into that void of that this thing that I post was funny, did it get enough likes or did it get enough retweets or anything? Because I posted it because I thought it was funny, and like I think that some people who follow me, people who are fans of me, then I think they might like it. But I don't really view that as a metric of success. Um, I just try to do what I think is the best thing to do for myself, and I guess for my personal brand, and then kind of let the chips where they may.
I guess if you're keeping it authentic, you really don't have to monitor because that's you out there and you stand by everything that you say.
Yeah, that's especially with my personal brand. Like now, obviously, let's say with like a company. Again, I'll use Star City as an example. Let's say the Star City wants to push the newest creature collection promotion, the Ramble Hopper Elite, and they fire off a Facebook ad, Instagram ad, a Twitter ad. They pay for these things. They monitor like how much their ad spend, what their ad spend is getting, how many clicks, reach, all those things. That's a different ballgame entirely. Or is that reach, those clicks, those impressions, are they generating sales? Are they generating conversations? Are they generating shares and retweets and things of that nature? I mean, that's a different conversation entirely. For a personal brand, I'm not saying don't give a shit what people think about you, because you're not me, and the other person that might be listening to this or might watch this in the future, you're not me. But I mean, that's how I like to handle it, because in 2018, with social media and how someone can directly connect with you and either positively or negatively impact your day based off of the response, I can't really get myself to care all that much about what a random person thinks about if I'm mad that LeBron he's playing for the Lakers now. It's just I don't really care what they think. So that's just kind of
Well,
how I.
as a fan of yours, it's working. With your personal brand. Like I said, I'm a fan of you. I know about your personal brand. Like I said, I really like what you've done. So it's obviously working.
Cool. I appreciate it.
It's funny. I was watching you this weekend. SCG tour.
Yep.
And I spend a lot of weekends with you guys over there doing schoolwork and just having it on in the background. So thank you for helping me through that.
Of course. Yep.
And it was funny. You were taking questions, and as a joke, I sent a tweet to you saying, "Can I intern for you?" And then now I'm here today speaking to you, so it was kind of surreal for me.
That's pretty cool, man. I mean, shoot your shot. I'm glad you did. I don't really ever say no to requests like this. I try to fit it in as best I can. It's just something I prefer to do. I'm very happy with where I've gotten to in my life, but I had to start somewhere. And once upon a time, I don't know if you know this or not, because you're just getting back into Magic, but I was streaming to 200 people on Twitch back in 2011. Just trying to make something happen. I didn't really have a job or anything like that. I was broke, living in one of my friend's extra bedrooms. Paying $400 of rent a month and just putting a plan together and seeing what could happen. And thank God for Twitch and try to be entertaining and try to do something that was different. So you just never know. Planning is important. Your audience is important. Things like that, but yeah, I mean, with stuff like this, I'm always happy to take on the request and do what I can to help people out because you just never know who's going to be the next thing, who this can help, that sort of thing. So happy to do it.
Yeah, my wife and I talked. If I'm ever at a stage in my career, I definitely will accept requests like this because being able to help out just seems like something that's great.
Yeah, I enjoy doing stuff like this. I've done a few interviews like this in the past. I know I helped someone out with one of their projects for college and took on some questions like this, and I'm more than happy to do this kind of thing. This shit's easy for me. I can talk about marketing and building a Twitch following, or I got to where I've gotten all that stuff all the time. It's easy.
Well, it's funny because Sunday night I was looking at this week's schoolwork after midnight, and I saw to try and interview someone. It was one of the or to interview someone is one of it's an assignment where you have three choices.
Okay.
And I was in the one of my the streams I follow avidly, and as a joke, like I was talking to the guys about the schoolwork. I was like, anyone know how to get a hold of Cedric Phillips? And one of my friends said he's very active on Twitter. And that all led to this. And it's amazing what can happen with social media.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's funny too because Twitter, I get Twitter messages, and when you're a friend with someone on Twitter, and you get a DM, you get notified, and then when you get a DM and you're not following that person on Twitter, it kind of languishes off this other inbox that I check occasionally, but not that much. So you actually caught me on one of the times where I was kind of just going through, got your message, obviously responded. It's actually that's one of the things I dislike about Twitter. Actually, is I wish those other messages for people I'm not following were more easily accessible or notified you better. But in this instance, I am very active on Twitter, as your friend did mention, and it all worked out. So yeah, easy breezy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sorry, I'm still nervous. Like I said, it was a big deal. It was a big deal to meet you. And you responded so fast to me on Twitter. I called my wife and geeked out, and I was like, he responded so fast. I was amazed. So it's funny that you say you have trouble, getting those messages, but you got back to me really fast.
Yeah, you caught me. You caught me at the right time.
Yeah, no, I was really happy. I don't have any more questions for you. So is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
In closing, let's see. Well, first, I'll let you ask. Do you have any non-interview questions you want to ask for me? Any personal stuff?
Oh,
Magic or any crap like that?
I really appreciate that because it's so hard to think of questions when you're going to be talking to a Magic guy and not bring up Magic when it's about your career.
Yeah.
Oh man. What are your thoughts on the nothing happened with the ban restricted list? Do you feel Magic in general, not just any one specific format, is in a good place, or do you think maybe they should have done some things? I know you talked about this over the weekend with Patrick Sullivan, but
well, standard's great. Doesn't really need to change anything. Doesn't need to change, I would think, at all. This is the best standard it's been in years, and it's actually really great to watch. So wouldn't change a single thing there. I think everybody's happy with where standards at. The games are good. The decks are good. There's no best deck. A lot of diversity. Everything you could ask for in standard, which is basically the intro format, the intro competitive format for players who are getting into Magic. This is what they would, at least in my opinion. For modern, I know we talked about Stoneforge Mystic. We talked about Splinter Twin. Patrick's thoughts are very much in line with mine. I don't really think that stuff needs to change at this stage of things. If I were to unban a card, it would probably be Green Sun Zenith, just because I don't think that card's obviously very powerful, but I wouldn't go anywhere extreme with it. It would be. I don't know if they unban Green Sun Zenith, if they'd have to ban Dryad Armor because it makes Zenith too good. I'm not in that camp really because the mid-range green decks like your Juns and your Obzons or whatever, your Collecting Company decks, they're not too powerful. So adding this would put them on the same scale probably as the other best decks in Modern, but I don't think it'd make it too good. So I'd be fine with that. And I just don't think there's a worst case scenario with Green Sun Zenith. If Green Sun Zenith is like the best thing going on, I feel like you're in a pretty good spot. Splinter Twin's the best thing going on. You see, or if Stoneforge getting a Battered Skull and your opponent just not being is the best thing going on. Not. If Zenith is finding random value creatures like Corsair, sure, don't mind. And then Legacy, honestly, it's not a popular enough format. It's too cringy. The barrier to entry is too high, man. Like them
it makes me sad because I love Legacy. It's because I played Magic when I was I probably learned to play when I was like 7, and I played for a while, and then now I was on about a 12-year break. The
Okay.
last thing I played was Damage was on the stack. It was back when there was extended. I played.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I played Scepter Chant.
Okay. Yep. Very familiar.
That was the last big tournament deck I played. So I like Legacy a lot because then I'm seeing Brainstorm, Accumulated Knowledge, like the Wishes, like Cunning Wish is probably one of my favorite cards. My favorite card ever is Counterspell.
Okay. Very spiky.
I was actually a friend of mine did a charity stream a couple weeks ago, a 24-hour stream to where all the money went to a charity, and I won a foil Counterspell, and I was really excited.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I dig it. I think Legacy's fine, right? Like they're not ever going to ban Wasteland. They're not going to ban Brainstorm. They're not going to ban Force of Will, stuff like that. Deathright's gone, which is good. Format's diverse. I think it's fine. It's a good format to have around, but it's not a great competitive. That's really about it. So I think right now they don't need to change anything. We'll see in the next one next year. I think as the next one, I think January. We'll see, but things are in a pretty good place right now for Magic, which is a good thing.
I agree with what Patrick said. He said over the weekend that all the formats are really in a good place, and when stuff starts getting bored again is when they can talk about they'll do like Stoneforge. I think he's right about that because if something's in a good place, you don't want to ruin it and unbalance it. Wait for it to get stale, and then you can change it up a little bit.
Yeah,
so which is what I think very on point.
I think they do a nice job of that with Modern. I think they should continue to do that with Modern. If Modern starts to get stale a little bit, which it's slowly but surely getting there. It's not nearly as popular as it was a year or two ago. Then yeah, they can shake the tree a little bit and see what happens. Yeah.
I've been so focused on I forgot all my Magic questions for you. I'm sorry about that.
It's not a problem. Don't worry about it. As far as final thoughts go, to me, if you want to be successful in this social media thing, the things you have to do is you gotta keep up. So find resources that you can follow and you can trust. For me, those things are I follow at Social Media Today on Twitter, and they have it's a daily newsletter, and they have a weekender that's a recap of things. They're still doing things underneath that model. I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk Gary Vaynerchuk, the Gary V audio experience with regularity. I listen to it daily. And I get his newsletter, which has updates on what's going on with him and his brands, lines, the shoes with these Swiss, everything he's doing. I very strongly believe a lot of the things that he does. Books, it's great. I can't recommend that highly enough. The biggest thing is just continue to educate yourself to be a practitioner of these platforms. The only way to learn how to use YouTube is to YouTube. The only way to learn how to use Twitter is to have Twitter, mess around with it, see how things work. Same thing you said for Facebook, if you start a business page or a personal fan page like I have, you got to be a practitioner in these things to be able to make them work. But this is a great field to be going into. I think you've chosen very well. As you probably social media is not a fad. It's not going to time. So if you're into Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat, Instagram, and those other things, this is a good place to be. And there's going to be, there already is, but there's going to continue to be, companies are going to keep opening. They have to have Facebook pages. They have to have active users to be able to get in touch with consumers who are happy. So it is, you can become a very, very valuable member of society. Good at these things, you have to practice. So practice.
Awesome. Thank you very much for being a part of my very first content piece. One of the things we're learning about in this class is making sure you have different content pieces so when people search for you, they can see the stuff. So this will be my very first one on my website, if that's all right with you.
Go for it.
I appreciate it. I'm part of this class is building the website, so it's not entirely up. But once I get everything up, I'll make sure to send you tweet you a link.
Cool. Yeah, shoot me a link. However you want to get in touch with me, Twitter, email, whatever.
Whichever you'd prefer.
Email's fine. Totally
Okay.
fine. And shoot me your address. Shoot me your address when you do that too, because I'm going to send you a pack of these katana sleeves before anybody else can get them. They don't come out for another 2 months. So shoot me your address, and I'll send you a pack of these.
Awesome. I really appreciate it.
You got it, man.
Like I said, big fan. Thank you so much for doing this for me. I am going to spend some time figuring out what I'm going to write about this because I gotta do at least 300 words. I feel like I'm going to have a lot more than that, so I got to condense it.
Okay, fair enough.
But, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to do this, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. It's about 3 o'clock where you are, right? Almost.
Yeah, 2:42. So I'm in the office for another probably 3 or 4 hours, getting some more work done. So took out some time. Took out an hour to do this. Plenty of time to do it. Happy to do it. Like I said, send me over the address. I'll get you over some sleeves. And send me the final product when you get the opportunity. Take a look at the website and everything else. And tell the wife and kids I said hello.
I will. My son is a big AJ Styles fan, like you. So.
And your son is very smart.
He's. I was reading your. Oh, I'm sorry. Reading your bios and what you like in wrestling. I was like, I know all these names because my son doesn't stop talking about them and has all the belts. So, yep. According to him, you have good taste because I was excited. I sent you the message asking you to do this while I was waiting in line to pick him up. Okay. And I had just gotten home and I was just about to get home and I saw your message and I called my wife. And my son was asking why I was so excited. So I told him who you were, and of course I had to tell him you're a big wrestling fan because that's one of the few things he cares about.
Okay, got it. Well, that's awesome. He has very good taste. He's a fan of one of the best professional wrestlers of all time, just like me. So, go him.
Awesome. Thank you again, and have a wonderful rest. Have a wonderful rest of the workday.
Will do. You do the same. All right.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Take it easy, Zach.